Ambassador Marcus Webb stood in the center of the massive chamber. His shoes clicked against the crystal floor. Above him, thousands of alien creatures sat on floating platforms. They formed a giant dome around him. Each one represented a different world, a different species from across the galaxy. Marcus looked up at the holographic display floating in the air. Numbers glowed bright blue against the darkness. The vote was complete. Every single species had voted the same way. 7 votes for enslavement. 0 votes against Earth would become a slave world. The chamber fell silent. Marcus could hear his own heartbeat. He had known this might happen, but seeing it still felt like a punch to the gut. 7 billion people back home had no idea what was coming. High Chancellor Vren spoke. The being was made of pure energy, shifting between different colors as it talked. Its voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "The Galactic Council has reached its decision," Vren announced. "Earth and all its inhabitants are deemed too dangerous to join our community as equals. Your species shows patterns of violence, unpredictability, and territorial aggression. Therefore, humanity will be distributed across our industrial colonies as a labor force." This sentence begins immediately. Marcus noticed the other delegates watching him. They expected him to break down, to beg, to cry, maybe even to threaten them with Earth's primitive weapons. Instead, he stood perfectly still. His face showed no emotion. "When does our sentence begin?" Marcus asked. His voice was calm and steady. Vren seemed surprised by the question. "Immediately, as I stated. Compliance fleets are already entering your solar system. They will begin collection operations within the hour." Marcus nodded slowly. Then he did something that made the entire chamber uncomfortable. He smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that made people nervous. The kind that said someone knew something you did not. "Then I suppose," Marcus said quietly, "we should inform you of Protocol Midnight." Confusion spread through the council like a wave. Delegates turned to each other, speaking in hundreds of different languages. Their translation devices worked overtime. "No one had heard of this protocol. What is Protocol Midnight?" demanded Commander Tharn, a massive creature covered in armor plates. His species had conquered 17 star systems through military might. 3 months ago, Marcus explained, Earth detected your hostile intentions. We intercepted your communications. We knew you planned to vote for our enslavement, so we activated a contingency plan. "Impossible," hissed Representative Krill, a snake-like being from the outer rim. "We monitored your world. You barely have space travel. You cannot even leave your own solar system." Marcus's smile grew wider. "That is what we wanted you to think." Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed. Every delegate's communication device activated at once. Urgent messages poured in from their homeworlds. Vren's energy form flickered and pulsed. "What is happening?" The delegates read their messages. Their faces, tentacles, and various other features showed shock and fear. They began shouting all at once. "Impossible! This cannot be!" How did they get past our defenses? Marcus waited for the noise to die down. He knew exactly what they were reading. Human vessels had appeared near every major alien homeworld. Thousands of ships, all at the same time. "That is impossible," Commander Tharn growled. "Earth does not have faster-than-light technology. We have monitored your development. You are centuries away from achieving interstellar travel." "You are correct," Marcus said. "We do not have faster-than-light travel like you do. We have something better." The chamber fell silent again. This time, it was the silence of fear. "For the past 50 years," Marcus continued, "while you watched us struggle with primitive rockets and satellites, human scientists were working on a different approach. We did not try to copy your technology. We went in a completely different direction." He walked in a slow circle, looking up at all the delegates surrounding him. "We developed quantum cascade generators, technology that allows instantaneous teleportation across any distance. We do not need to travel through space. We simply step from one location to another in a single moment." "That is theoretically impossible," said Ambassador Lyra, an elderly being from a species known for their scientific achievements. "Quantum mechanics does not allow for such large-scale applications." "You are thinking about it wrong," Marcus replied. "You tried to make the ship move. We made the universe move instead. The result is the same, but the method is completely different." More messages arrived. The delegates read them with growing panic. The human ships were not attacking. They were just sitting there, orbiting each homeworld, waiting. What do you want? Vren demanded. The energy being's colors were now flickering red and orange. Anger and fear mixed together. What do we want? Marcus repeated. He stopped walking and looked directly at the High Chancellor. We want the same thing you wanted to take from us. Freedom, the right to control our own destiny, the ability to say no when someone tries to enslave us. You dare threaten this council? Commander Tharn stood up on his platform. You are one species against hundreds. We have armies that number in the billions, weapons that can destroy planets. You have shown up with some ships. That changes nothing, does it not? Marcus asked. Tell me, Commander, how many of your ships have tried to scan our vessels? Tharn's face went rigid. He did not answer. All of them, I assume, Marcus continued. And what did your scans reveal? Again, no answer. Nothing, Marcus said. Your sensors detected nothing. No power signatures, no life signs, no weapons, no shields. It is like our ships do not exist in normal space. That is because they do not. They exist in a quantum state, present and not present at the same time. He paused to let that sink in. You cannot shoot what you cannot detect. You cannot fight what does not exist in your reality. And you cannot stop what is already everywhere at once. Ambassador Lyra leaned forward on her platform. What are you saying, Ambassador Webb? I am saying that Earth is no longer defenseless. I am saying that humanity has been preparing for first contact for decades. We hope to meet you as friends. We built our technology for exploration and defense, but you never gave us that chance. You decided to enslave us before we even had the opportunity to speak. Marcus's voice grew harder, colder. So now I will give you the same choice you gave us. Surrender your military capabilities to human oversight or face the consequences. The chamber exploded with noise. Delegates shouted. Some in anger, some in fear. Some demanded action. Others called for negotiation. Commander Tharn's voice boomed over all the others. This is a bluff. A desperate attempt to save yourselves. I will prove it. He activated his communicator. This is Commander Tharn to the Thalorian fleet. Engage the human vessels in orbit around our homeworld. Destroy them all. The chamber went silent. Everyone waited. Seconds passed like hours. Then Tharn's communicator crackled to life. Commander, weapons fired. Direct hits confirmed on all targets. Tharn smiled triumphantly. You see? Your bluff has been called, human. But Marcus was still smiling. The communicator spoke again. Commander. The weapons passed through the ships. They are unharmed. The human vessels are still there. They are activating something. Some kind of pulse is building. Energy readings are off the scale. Commander, what do we do? Before Tharn could respond, every light in the chamber went out. The holographic displays vanished. The floating platforms began to drop as their anti-gravity systems failed. Emergency lights flickered on, casting strange shadows. Vren's energy form dimmed to barely visible. What have you done? Marcus stood in the darkness, his face illuminated by the weak emergency lights. His smile was gone. Now he just looked tired and sad. I gave you a choice, he said quietly. You chose violence. So now, the galaxy will learn what happens when you push humanity too far. All across the galaxy, every advanced technology shut down at once. Power grids failed. Weapon systems went offline. Life support on stations began to fail. Faster-than-light drives stopped working. Shields collapsed. Communication networks went silent. The entire galactic civilization went dark. Only Earth's quantum technology continued to function normally. Marcus waited in the darkness as the delegates began to panic. He had not wanted this. None of humanity wanted this. But they had been given no choice. When someone votes to enslave you, you do whatever you must to survive. You have 12 hours, Marcus announced. 12 hours to reconsider your decision. After that, we move to Phase 2. And trust me, you do not want to see Phase 2. The emergency lights in the council chamber flickered like dying stars. Delegates scrambled in the darkness, trying to understand what had just happened. Their advanced technology, built over thousands of years, had stopped working in seconds. Marcus Webb stood calmly in the center of the chamber. He could see the panic spreading like wildfire. Good. They needed to understand what they had done. They needed to feel powerless. just like they had wanted humanity to feel. High Chancellor Vren's energy form was now just a pale glow. Without the station's power systems, the being could barely maintain its shape. Its voice came out weak and crackling. "Explain what you have done, human." Marcus pulled out a small device from his pocket. It glowed with soft blue light. "The only technology in the entire chamber that still worked. This is a quantum communicator," Marcus explained. "It operates on principles your science never discovered. While you spent millennia perfecting faster-than-light travel, we went a different direction. We learned to manipulate quantum fields themselves." He pressed a button on the device. A hologram appeared, floating in the air above his hand. It showed a map of the galaxy. Thousands of red dots blinked across it. "What you are seeing is every major system in the galaxy. Every homeworld, every colony, every space station, every ship. All of them are currently experiencing the same thing you are. Total technological failure." Ambassador Lyra, the elderly philosopher, spoke up. Her voice trembled. "You have killed billions. Life support systems on stations, environmental controls on colony worlds, medical equipment in hospitals, all failing." "Yes," Marcus said simply. "Just like your compliance fleets would have killed billions of humans when they tried to capture and transport us across the galaxy. Just like billions of humans would have died working in your mines and factories." He let that sink in for a moment. "But unlike you, we are not murderers. Watch." He pressed another button. New blue dots appeared on the hologram. They surrounded each red dot. Those are human emergency response teams. They have been deploying across the galaxy for the past 3 minutes. They are bringing portable life support systems to every station, medical equipment to every hospital, emergency power to every colony. We are saving the lives your own technology can no longer support." Commander Tharn snarled from his platform. "Why? Why save us if you have already won?" "Because we are not like you," Marcus replied. "We do not enslave. We do not let innocent people die just to make a point. But make no mistake, this is just a demonstration, a warning. We can turn your technology off whenever we want. And next time, we might not send rescue teams." He walked slowly around the chamber, looking up at all the delegates. "You wanted to know how we did this? The quantum field that powers your ships, your stations, your entire civilization, we have learned to control it. We released a self-replicating quantum disruptor field across the galaxy. It is everywhere now, in every star system, every planet, every ship. It can be activated or deactivated at will, but only by human quantum technology." A smaller delegate, barely visible in the dim light, spoke in a high-pitched voice. "This is an act of war against the entire galaxy." "You have made enemies of everyone," Marcus shook his head. "No, you made an enemy of Earth when you voted to enslave us. We are simply defending ourselves, and we are being far more merciful than you deserve." More reports came in over the primitive communication systems that still worked. The death toll was rising, but slowly. Human rescue teams were managing to save most of the critical cases. But the message was clear. Earth-controlled galactic civilization now. "You have 12 hours to reconvene this council," Marcus repeated. 12 hours to change your vote. If you choose to remain hostile, we move to Phase 2. "What is Phase 2? Vren asked. The energy being sounded afraid, Marcus did not answer. He simply smiled that same cold smile from before. The hours that followed were chaos. The council delegates contacted their governments using old-fashioned radio transmissions. It took much longer than their quantum communication networks, but it worked. Leaders from across the galaxy began to understand their new reality. Earth had not just disabled their technology. They had infiltrated it, compromised it, taken control of it. Reports came in throughout the long night. Human teams were not just saving lives. They were also systematically taking over key systems. Defense platforms, weapon satellites, communication relays, resource distribution networks, supply chains, banking systems, everything that made galactic civilization function. By the time the 12 hours were up, humanity controlled the entire infrastructure of the galaxy. Not through conquest, not through war, through preparation and intelligence. They had been ready for this day long before the council ever voted. The council reconvened. This time, they used primitive chemical lights for illumination. The grand chamber looked ancient and crude without its technology. The delegates looked smaller somehow, vulnerable. High Chancellor Vren called the session to order. "Ambassador Webb, we have reconvened as you demanded. What are your terms?" Marcus stood in the center again. But this time he was not alone. A hologram appeared beside him. It showed a woman in her 50s with gray hair and sharp eyes. She wore a simple blue suit. "This is President Elena Volkov of Earth," Marcus introduced her. "She has something to say." Volkov looked around at the assembled delegates. Her face showed no sympathy. "You voted to enslave my people," she began. "You decided that 7 billion human beings should be property, labor, things to be used and discarded. Did you think we would accept this? Did you think we would simply surrender?" No one answered. "I want you all to understand something," Volkov continued. "The technology Ambassador Webb has demonstrated, the quantum disruptors, the rescue teams, the infiltration of your systems, that was all defensive. That was Plan A. We hoped we would never need it." She paused. Her expression grew colder. "But we also prepared Plan B, just in case you refused to see reason." The hologram changed. It now showed Earth's solar system. Specifically, it showed the asteroid belt and several moons. "You wanted to enslave us because of something you found in our system. Quantum reactive elements, rare minerals that exist nowhere else in the explored galaxy. Minerals worth more than all your combined wealth." Murmurs spread through the chamber. She was right. That was the real reason for the vote. Not fear of humanity, greed. "You wanted these minerals," Volkov said. "So you decided to take them by taking us. Well, I have news for you. We have been mining these elements for years, and we have discovered something interesting about them." She held up a small object. It was roughly the size of a marble. It glowed with a soft golden light. "This is a quantum reactive warhead. One single device this small can erase an entire solar system from existence. Not destroy it, erase it. Remove it from space-time itself, as if it never existed." The chamber went completely silent. Even the sound of breathing stopped. "Earth has just finished producing 10,000 of these devices," Volkov continued. "They are currently distributed across our solar system, protected by quantum shields. If Earth falls, they activate automatically. But more importantly, they can be deployed anywhere in the galaxy instantly. Remember, we have quantum teleportation." Commander Tharn stood up. His voice shook. "You would not dare. That would be genocide on a scale never seen before." "You are right," Volkov agreed. "We would not. Because unlike you, we do not believe in destroying civilizations. We do not believe in slavery. We do not believe in conquest. But we do believe in deterrence. We do believe in protecting ourselves. And we do believe that if you push someone hard enough, they will push back." She looked directly at the camera, which meant she was looking directly at every delegate. "So here is where we stand. You wanted to enslave Earth. Instead, Earth now has the power to erase any system that threatens us. We control your infrastructure. We can shut down your civilization with a thought. We can deploy weapons that make your fleets obsolete." Ambassador Lyra spoke up. Her voice was soft but clear. "So what do you want? Surrender? Submission? Revenge?" Volkov shook her head. "No, we want what we have always wanted, to be left in peace, to control our own destiny. And if possible, to join the galactic community as equals, true equals. Not slaves, not masters. Just equals. That is all?" Commander Tharn asked. He sounded suspicious. "That is all," Marcus confirmed. "Restore Earth's freedom. Give us a seat on this council with full voting rights. Recognize our sovereignty. And in return, we will restore your technology. We will share defensive quantum technology to help all species protect themselves. We will sell the quantum reactive elements fairly, with profits benefiting all members. And we will use our power to ensure no species ever tries to enslave another again." The delegates looked at each other. They had expected demands for territory, for tribute, for subjugation. Instead, humanity offered partnership. "This is a trick," Tharn insisted. "Some kind of trap." "No trap," Volkov said. "Just a choice. The same choice you gave us. Except we are being far more generous than you were." She held up the quantum warhead again. "Let them see it. Let them remember it. You have 24 hours to decide. Accept our terms and we restore your civilization. We become partners. Or refuse and discover what Phase 3 looks like. Trust me, you do not want Phase 3. The hologram vanished. Marcus stood alone in the chamber again. 24 hours, he repeated. Choose wisely. The 24 hours passed like a slow death. Across the galaxy, species faced their new reality. Without their technology, they were helpless. Billions of beings depended on systems that no longer worked, and only humanity could turn them back on. In the council chamber, delegates argued through the night. Some wanted to accept Earth's terms immediately. Others refused to show weakness. A few still believed they could find a way to fight back. Marcus Webb sat in a side chamber, watching the debates through a portable monitor. His quantum communicator kept him connected to everything happening across the galaxy. Reports came in every few minutes. The death toll was rising, not quickly but steadily. Human rescue teams could only do so much. Species that needed specific environmental conditions were dying. Hospitals could not perform complex surgeries without their equipment. Food distribution networks had collapsed on several worlds. Marcus felt sick. He had not wanted this. None of humanity wanted this. But what choice did they have? When someone votes to make you a slave, you do what you must to survive. A message came through on his communicator. It was from Admiral James Cross, commander of Earth's defense fleet. Ambassador, we have a problem. The Vrac supremacy has gone silent. All their delegates left the council 6 hours ago. Our ships near their territory report unusual quantum signatures. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Are they developing their own quantum technology? Looks like it. They must have been studying the probe we lost in their system last year. They are reverse engineering it. How long until they have functional weapons? Unknown. Could be days. Could be hours. The Vracs are not known for their patience. Marcus closed his eyes. This was exactly what he feared. Once one species learned the basics of quantum technology, others would follow. Earth's advantage would not last forever. They needed to secure peace now before the arms race began. He returned to the main chamber. The delegates were still arguing. High Chancellor Vren was trying to maintain order, but the energy being's power was fading. Without the station's systems to support it, Vren was dying slowly. Enough! Marcus shouted. His voice echoed through the chamber. We do not have time for this. Every hour you delay, more people die. Yours and mine. Make your decision. Ambassador Lyra stood on her platform. The Wisdom Collective votes to accept Earth's terms. We should have done this from the start. One by one, other delegates began to vote. Some reluctantly. Some with obvious anger. But they voted. The galaxy had learned its lesson. You do not fight someone who holds all the cards. Commander Tharn was one of the last to vote. The warrior looked defeated. The Thalorian systems accept. But know this, human. We will remember this day. We will remember that you held a knife to our throats. Good, Marcus replied. Remember it well. Remember that we could have used that knife but chose not to. Remember that you voted to enslave us and we responded by offering you partnership. Maybe that will teach you something. The final vote came in, 847 to 0, unanimous. Just like the first vote, but this time they voted for peace. Vren's fading form spoke weakly. It is done. Earth is granted full membership in the Galactic Council. Your terms are accepted. Now please, restore our systems. My people are dying, Marcus nodded. He activated his communicator. This is Ambassador Webb to all human forces. Begin Phase 4. Restore galactic systems, but maintain monitoring protocols. If anyone tries anything hostile, shut them down immediately. Across the galaxy, the quantum disruptor field was deactivated. Power returned. Lights came back on. Life support systems hummed to life. Communication networks reconnected. The galaxy took a deep breath. In the council chamber, the lights blazed back to life. The holographic displays reappeared. The floating platform stabilized. Vren's energy form grew bright and strong again. The delegates looked around, checking their systems. Everything worked. Earth had kept its word, but Marcus was not done yet. He had one more revelation for them. Before we celebrate this new partnership, he said, there is something you all need to see. Something you need to understand about why you voted the way you did. He activated the main holographic display. It showed documents, financial records, secret communications between council members. Over the past months, while your public face spoke of fear about humanity's violence and unpredictability, your private communications told a different story. The documents showed transfer orders for quantum reactive elements. projected profit calculations, plans for mining operations in Earth's solar system, distribution agreements between the Council's leadership and major corporations. You did not vote to enslave us because you feared us, Marcus continued. You voted to enslave us because you wanted to own us. You wanted our resources. The quantum reactive elements in our system are worth more than everything else in the galaxy combined. And you decided the easiest way to get them was to make us your property. Shame spread through the chamber. Some delegates looked away. Others stared at the evidence with shock. Many had not known the real reason behind the vote. They had been manipulated by their own leaders. The decision was made by a small group, Ambassador Lyra said quietly. She looked at the other senior delegates. We are the ones truly responsible. We convinced everyone else that humanity was too dangerous. But really we were just too greedy. Commander Tharn stood up again. This time he did not look angry. He looked ashamed. The ambassador speaks truth. I am guilty of this crime. I voted to enslave Earth knowing the real reason. Knowing it was wrong. I let greed overrule honor. One by one, the delegates who had known the truth came forward. They admitted their guilt. They asked for forgiveness, not from the Council, but from humanity. Marcus watched this with mixed feelings. Part of him wanted to feel satisfaction. They deserved to feel shame. But another part just felt tired. Tired of games. Tired of politics. Tired of fighting. What happens now? Vren asked. You have won. You have exposed our corruption. You have proven your power. What will you do with us? Before Marcus could answer, alarms blared again. But this time they were different. These were attack warnings. Incoming quantum signatures. Someone shouted. Multiple hostile contacts. The holographic display changed. It showed 50 warships appearing from quantum jumps. They surrounded Earth itself. The ships bore the markings of the Vrax's supremacy. Marcus's communicator exploded with urgent messages. Ambassador, this is Earth defense. Vrax ships have appeared in orbit. They are charging weapons. All major cities are being targeted. The council chamber erupted into chaos. The Vrax delegates tried to deny knowledge, but no one believed them. This was an attack by a rogue faction, desperate to prove that Earth was not invincible. Vrax ships are firing! The voice on the communicator shouted. Multiple nuclear-level strikes on New York, Beijing, Mumbai, London, Sao Paulo. Impacts confirmed. God help us. Marcus stood frozen. He watched the holographic display show his homeworld under attack. Mushroom clouds rose over the great cities of Earth. Billions of people. His family lived in New York. The delegates watched in horror. If Earth was destroyed, humanity's retaliation would be absolute. The 10,000 quantum warheads would activate. The galaxy would burn. For 3 seconds, the images showed destruction spreading across Earth's surface. 3 seconds of hell. Then the images flickered, reset. Like rewinding a video, the mushroom clouds vanished. The city stood intact. The Vrax weapons had done nothing. Marcus let out a breath he did not know he was holding. His hands shook, but his voice was steady when he spoke. Temporal shields, he explained to the stunned council. Earth exists 3 seconds behind your timeline. Any attack phases through our temporal displacement field and dissipates harmlessly in the past echo space. He looked up at the Vrax delegates. They were backing away, fear in their eyes. You cannot touch us, Marcus said quietly. You cannot hurt us. You cannot enslave us. You cannot kill us. We are beyond your reach. We have always been beyond your reach. He activated his communicator. Earth defense, disable the Vrax vessels. Teleport their crews to the nearest habitable moon. Do not harm them, sir. The voice sounded confused. They just tried to destroy Earth. They tried to kill billions of people. I know, Marcus replied. But we are not like them. Show them mercy. Show the galaxy what humanity truly is. The Vrax ships went dark. Their crews vanished, teleported away from their vessels. They would wake up on a moon with supplies and shelter, alive, unharmed, confused. Marcus turned to face the council. That is who we are. That is what makes us different. You voted to enslave us. The Vrax just tried to destroy us, and we showed both of you mercy. Not because you deserve it, but because that is what separates civilization from barbarism. Commander Tharn slowly stood. He did something that shocked everyone. He removed his rank insignia. In his culture, this was the ultimate gesture of submission and respect. We do not deserve your mercy, Tharn said. His voice cracked with emotion. "We do not deserve your forgiveness. We do not deserve to exist in the same galaxy as you, but we beg for the chance to try, to learn, to be better." Ambassador Lyra joined him. Then another delegate, and another. Soon, hundreds of species representatives stood, making gestures of apology and submission in their various cultures. "We plead for mercy," they said together. "Not for our lives, but for our dignity. For the chance to prove we can change." Marcus looked at them all. These beings who had voted to enslave his people. These species who had tried to own Earth. And he made his choice. Marcus Webb looked at the hundreds of delegates standing before him. They had removed their symbols of rank and power. They had admitted their guilt. They had begged for mercy. It was a sight he never imagined he would see. Part of him wanted to make them suffer more, to make them truly understand what they had tried to do. 7 billion humans could have been scattered across the galaxy, families torn apart, children sold to different worlds, lives destroyed forever. But another part of him remembered why humanity had come to the stars in the first place. They came to explore, to learn, to find friends among the distant worlds, not to conquer, not to punish, not to become the monsters their enemies feared. He activated his communicator. "Connect me to President Volkov." The hologram appeared again. Elena Volkov looked tired. She had just watched her world nearly die. Even knowing the temporal shields would work, those 3 seconds of watching nuclear fire spread across Earth had aged her. "Madam President," Marcus said formally, "the Council has voted to accept our terms. They have admitted their crimes. They have asked for mercy. What are your orders?" Volkov was quiet for a long moment. She looked at the assembled delegates through the hologram. Her face showed no sympathy, but also no hatred. "Just exhaustion. Tell them," she finally said, "that Earth accepts their surrender. But we have conditions beyond what we already stated." Marcus nodded. "Go ahead, Madam President." Volkov's image turned to face the Council directly. "First, the Galactic Council will be restructured. No more secret deals. No more hidden votes. Everything will be transparent. Every species will have access to all information. No more lies." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. "Second, slavery is banned forever. Not just for humans, for everyone. Any species caught enslaving another will face immediate sanctions and possible expulsion from the Council. No exceptions. More agreement." Even Commander Tharn nodded at this. "Third, Earth will establish monitoring stations throughout the galaxy. These stations will be protected by quantum shields and will serve as neutral ground for disputes. Think of them as embassies of peace." Ambassador Lyra spoke up. "These are fair terms, President Volkov." "More than fair. Is there anything else?" "Yes," Volkov said. Her voice grew harder. "One more thing. Every species that voted for our enslavement will publicly apologize. Not just to Earth, but to their own people. Your citizens need to know what their leaders tried to do. They need to understand that this can never happen again." Silence filled the chamber. Public apologies meant political suicide for many of the delegates. Their careers would end. Their legacies would be destroyed. But they had no choice. High Chancellor Vren spoke first. "The Galactic Council accepts all conditions. We will begin the public apologies immediately." The hologram of President Volkov faded. Marcus was alone in the center of the chamber again. But this time, the mood was different. Not hostile, not afraid. Something else. Something almost like hope. "Before we proceed with the formal agreements," Marcus said, "I want to explain something. Many of you are wondering how Earth achieved all of this. How a species that seemed so primitive managed to develop technology beyond anything the galaxy has seen." He walked in a slow circle, making eye contact with as many delegates as he could. "The answer is simple. You underestimated us because we were young. You assumed that because we had only been in space for a few decades, we must be inferior. You forgot that every species in this chamber was once young too. You forgot that new does not mean weak." He stopped walking and looked up at the dome of delegates above him. "But there is another reason, a reason that might be more important. We developed quantum technology not because we are smarter than you, but because we think differently. Your species spent thousands of years perfecting what already worked. You made your FTL drives faster, your weapons stronger, your shields tougher. You improved the same basic technology over and over." Ambassador Lyra nodded slowly. "But you started from nothing. No preconceptions. No established methods to follow. Exactly, Marcus agreed. When your species looked at quantum mechanics, you tried to fit it into your existing understanding of physics. When we looked at it, we had no existing understanding. We were free to think in completely new ways. Sometimes ignorance is an advantage. Commander Tharn spoke up. His voice was thoughtful, not aggressive like before. You are saying that being primitive was actually your strength? Not primitive, Marcus corrected. Young. There is a difference. We had less experience, yes, but we also had fewer assumptions. Fewer rules about what was possible and what was not. We could try things you never thought to try because you already knew they would not work. He smiled, and this time it was a genuine smile. Not cold or threatening, just human. Do you know what the breakthrough was? The moment when we figured out quantum teleportation? It was a 16-year-old student named Kelly Nash. She was doing a school project about quantum entanglement. She asked a simple question. Instead of trying to move matter through space, what if we moved space itself around the matter? Her teacher told her it was impossible. So she proved him wrong. Laughter rippled through the chamber. Not mocking laughter. The kind that comes from shared understanding. Every species in the galaxy had stories of young ones asking questions the elders thought were foolish. Kelly Nash is now the head of Earth's Quantum Research Division, Marcus continued. She is 23 years old, and she is the smartest person in the galaxy when it comes to quantum mechanics. Not because she studied longer than anyone else, but because she was willing to question everything. I would like to meet this Kelly Nash, Ambassador Lyra said. My species prides itself on scientific achievement, but we have grown stagnant. Perhaps your youth can teach our elders something. That is the spirit of the new partnership we are building, Marcus said. Sharing knowledge. Learning from each other. Your species have millennia of experience. We have fresh perspectives. Together we can achieve things neither could alone. He looked around at all the faces, tentacles, and various other features watching him. But understand this. The partnership only works if it is based on respect, on equality. The moment any species tries to dominate another, Earth will intervene. We have the power to do so, and we have proven we are willing to use it. But we would much rather use our power to protect than to punish. A new delegate spoke up. She was from the Crystalline Collective, beings who existed as energy patterns. Her voice chimed like bells. Ambassador Webb, I must ask. The quantum warheads, the weapons that can erase solar systems. Do they truly exist, or was that also a bluff? Marcus was silent for a moment. Then he answered honestly, they exist. Every single one. 10,000 weapons capable of removing stars from existence. Protected by quantum shields. Controlled by artificial intelligence that will activate them if Earth falls. Fear rippled through the chamber again. But, Marcus continued, here is the truth about those weapons. We built them knowing we would never use them. They exist only as deterrence, as insurance, as a promise that no one will ever try to harm Earth again. How can we trust that? Commander Tharn asked. How do we know you will not use them to threaten us? To force your will on the galaxy? Marcus looked the warrior directly in the eyes. Because of what just happened. The Vrak supremacy tried to destroy Earth. They tried to kill billions of humans. And what did we do? We disabled their ships and saved their crews. We showed them mercy when we could have shown them annihilation. He paused to let that sink in. That is who we are. That is what makes us human. We fight when we must. We defend ourselves without hesitation. But we do not kill for revenge. We do not destroy for the pleasure of destruction. We do not become the evil we fight against. Ambassador Lyra stood on her platform. I believe you, Ambassador Webb. More importantly, I understand now what my species has lost over our long existence. We have forgotten how to take risks, how to question, how to see the universe with new eyes. Earth has reminded us of what we once were. She looked around at the other delegates. I propose that we not just accept Earth into the Galactic Council. I propose that we ask Earth to help us rebuild our entire civilization, to teach us to think young again, to show us how to question our assumptions, to help us remember that wisdom is not just about knowing what has worked before, but about discovering what might work in the future. Agreement spread through the chamber. Delegates from hundreds of species voiced their support. This was not submission. This was genuine desire to learn and change. Marcus felt something he had not felt in months. Hope. real hope that this might actually work. But then his communicator beeped urgently. A priority message from Earth Defense. His face went pale as he read it. "What is wrong?" Vren asked, noticing Marcus's expression. Marcus looked up at the council. "We have a problem. A very big problem. There is something out there. Something that has been watching us this whole time. Something that makes both Earth and the council look primitive." He activated the holographic display. It showed the edge of known space, and beyond it, a massive fleet of unknown ships. Thousands of them, maybe millions. "They have been listening to everything we said," Marcus explained, "watching our whole confrontation. And now they are coming. They will reach council space in 72 hours. The chamber fell silent. Earth and the council had just forged a new alliance. Now they would need to test it immediately. The massive fleet appeared on the holographic display like a swarm of stars. Thousands of ships, each one larger than anything the galaxy had ever built. They moved in perfect formation, crossing the void at speeds that made even quantum jumps look slow. Marcus Webb stared at the display with a mixture of fear and fascination. Just when they thought they had solved one crisis, the universe threw them another. But something about these ships seemed familiar. The way they moved. The energy signatures. It reminded him of something. "Ambassador," High Chancellor Vren said urgently, "do you recognize this species? Have you encountered them before?" Marcus shook his head slowly. "Not encountered. But I think I know what they are." He zoomed in on one of the approaching ships. The hull was covered in symbols. Ancient symbols that appeared in the oldest human archaeological sites. Symbols that appeared in myths and legends across dozens of Earth cultures. "Impossible," Ambassador Lyra whispered. "Those markings, I have seen them before. In our oldest archives. From before my species achieved spaceflight, we thought they were just religious symbols. Myths about gods who came from the stars. More delegates began recognizing the symbols. Species from every corner of the galaxy had stories about ancient visitors, about beings who came from beyond the known stars, about teachers who showed them the path to the stars, then vanished. Marcus turned to face the council. "I think these are the precursors, the species that seeded life across the galaxy, the ones who taught our ancestors and then disappeared millions of years ago." "But why are they returning now?" Commander Thorne demanded. "And why so many ships? This looks like an invasion fleet." The holographic display changed. A message was coming through. All the ships were broadcasting the same thing. It was in hundreds of different languages simultaneously. Every species could understand it. "Children of the galaxy," the message began. "We are the Guardians. We have watched you grow from your first steps into space. We have protected you from threats beyond your understanding. We have waited for you to mature, to become ready to join the greater community beyond this galaxy." The delegates listened in stunned silence. "But we have also watched your mistakes, your wars, your cruelty, your greed. For millennia, we hoped you would learn to live in peace, to treat each other with respect, to value wisdom over power." The voice paused. When it continued, there was sadness in it. "Today, we watched the youngest species among you nearly start a war that would have consumed the entire galaxy. We watched you vote to enslave those who were different from you. We watched you choose violence and domination over cooperation and peace." Marcus felt his stomach sink. They had been tested, and humanity had nearly failed along with everyone else. "But," the voice continued, and now there was something different in the tone, something almost like pride. "We also watched something else. We watched the youngest species respond with mercy instead of revenge. We watched them offer partnership instead of domination. We watched them choose to protect life rather than destroy it, even when destruction would have been justified." The massive fleet began to slow down. They were not approaching in attack formation. They were arranging themselves in a defensive perimeter around the council station. Humanity has shown us something we have not seen in 10 million years of watching civilizations rise and fall. They have shown that wisdom does not require age, that mercy does not require weakness, that the newest voice can sometimes speak the oldest truth. Marcus felt tears forming in his eyes. He had not expected this. The voice of the Guardian spoke directly to him now. "Marcus Webb of Earth, you stood alone before hundreds of species that wanted to enslave your people. You had the power to destroy them all. Instead, you chose to save them. That choice has earned humanity something precious: our respect, our protection, and our invitation. A single ship detached from the massive fleet. It approached the council station slowly, peacefully. It was smaller than the others, but still impressive. Beautiful. Made from materials that seemed to shift between solid and energy. We invite Earth to join the Galactic Federation. Not this small council of squabbling children, but the true Federation. The alliance of mature species from 1,000 galaxies. Species who have learned what you are just now teaching these others. The council chamber erupted into noise. Everyone was talking at once, shouting, arguing, some in joy, some in jealousy, some in fear. High Chancellor Vren called for order. Guardians, what about the rest of us? What is our fate? Your fate is your own to decide, the Guardians replied. We do not punish. We do not enslave. We do not dominate. We simply protect the innocent and guide those who seek guidance. You have been given a second chance today. Use it wisely. The Guardian ship docked with the council station. A figure emerged. It looked almost human, but not quite. Taller, more graceful, eyes that held the weight of ages. Marcus walked forward to meet the Guardian. They stood face to face. The ancient being and the young human. I am Guardian First Prime Aldrich, the being said. I have watched your species since you first looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. I have watched you fight and love and dream and grow. You have made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but you have also shown something rare and precious. The ability to be better than your worst impulses. Marcus did not know what to say. He just listened. Humanity is invited to join the Greater Federation, Aldrich continued. But this invitation comes with responsibilities. You must continue to be what you showed us today, protectors, teachers, the ones who choose mercy over revenge. Can you do this? Marcus thought about it. Really thought about it. This was not just about him. This was about all of humanity, about 7 billion people, about their future among the stars. I cannot promise we will be perfect, Marcus said honestly. Humans make mistakes. We have wars. We have greed. We have all the flaws these species have. The only difference is we are young enough to still remember how to change. Aldrich smiled. That is exactly the right answer. Perfection is not required. Only the willingness to keep trying to be better. That is what makes a species worthy of the stars. The Guardian turned to face the Council. The rest of you are not ready for the Federation. Not yet, but Earth will remain here among you. They will help you grow. They will challenge you. They will show you what you can become. Listen to them. Learn from them. And perhaps one day you too will receive our invitation. The massive fleet began to move again. But this time, instead of approaching, they were leaving. All except for one ship. The Guardian vessel that brought Aldrich remained. I will stay here, Aldrich announced. As an observer, as a teacher, and as a reminder that there are always greater heights to reach for. Always new wisdom to discover. Always hope for those who seek it. Over the next few days, the galaxy began to change. The public apologies were broadcast. Citizens of hundreds of worlds learned what their leaders had tried to do. Some leaders were removed from power. Others were forgiven. But everyone learned the lesson. Earth began establishing their monitoring stations. But they were not military bases. They were schools, libraries, meeting places where different species could come to learn and share knowledge. Young humans worked alongside ancient aliens, teaching and learning from each other. Commander Tharn visited one of these stations a month after the events at the Council. He found Marcus there helping to set up a classroom. Ambassador Webb, Tharn said formally, I owe you an apology. A personal one, not just the public statement I made. Marcus put down the equipment he was holding. Go ahead. I voted to enslave your people because I thought strength was all that mattered, Tharn admitted. My species conquered 17 systems through military might. I thought that made us superior. But you showed me something different. Real strength is not about how much you can destroy. It is about how much you can protect, how much mercy you can show, how much you can lift others up instead of pushing them down. Marcus extended his hand, a human gesture. We all make mistakes, Commander. What matters is what we do after. You are here now, learning, changing. That takes real courage. Tharn took the offered hand. Teach me. Teach my people. Show us how to be better warriors. Not warriors who conquer, but warriors who protect. And that became Earth's role in the galaxy. Not conquerors, not rulers, teachers, protectors. The young species who reminded everyone else of what they had forgotten. 5 years later, Marcus Webb stood in the rebuilt council chamber. It was now called the Hall of Unity and Equality. The name change had been his suggestion. Ambassador Lyra approached him. She had become one of Earth's closest allies, a true friend. "I have been thinking," she said, "about the day you stood here alone, when we voted to enslave you. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if Earth had not been ready? If you truly had been the primitive species we thought you were?" Marcus looked out at the stars visible through the massive windows. Every day. But that is the thing about humanity. We are always preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. We knew the galaxy might be hostile, so we prepared. But we also hoped for friendship. That is why we offered peace instead of destruction. "And that is why you earned it," Lyra said softly. The Guardians were right. Wisdom does not require age. Sometimes the newest voice speaks the oldest truth. You reminded us all of something we had forgotten. That mercy is not weakness. That forgiveness is not surrender. That the strong protect the weak, not dominate them. Marcus smiled. "We were not trying to teach anyone. We were just trying to survive." "Sometimes the best lessons are the ones we teach without meaning to," Lyra replied. They stood together in silence, watching ships from hundreds of species dock at the station. Species that had once voted to enslave Earth now came seeking Earth's guidance. Not because they had to, because they wanted to. Because humanity had shown them something better than fear and domination. Earth had faced the galaxy's judgment and been condemned. Now the galaxy sought Earth's wisdom and received mercy. That reversal was the greatest lesson of all. Power without compassion creates empires of ashes. Power with compassion creates civilizations that endure. Every species had voted to enslave Earth. Now they all came pleading not for mercy, but for the chance to earn humanity's trust. And slowly, carefully, patiently, Earth gave them that chance, because that is what humans do. They remember their mistakes, they learn, they grow, and they help others do the same. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Never underestimate the young, never assume primitive means weak, and never, ever forget that the most dangerous thing in the universe is not the one with the biggest weapons. It is the one who chooses mercy when revenge would be easier. That was humanity's gift to the stars. Not quantum technology, not weapons, not even strength. Just the simple reminder that there is always a choice. And the right choice is not always the easy one. Marcus Webb, the ambassador who stood alone against the galaxy, watched the new dawn of galactic civilization and smiled. They had come so close to destroying each other. But instead, they had learned to build together, and that made all the difference.